Hello and welcome. In this video we're going to talk about link wheels and we're going to gain an understanding as to how it fits into the whole overall off-page SEO process. And more importantly, whether or not it's a good use of time for you to set up link wheels or to have other people set up link wheels for you, and whether or not you could actually invest your time more effectively using another strategy and another off-page SEO method. So to understand the question, what is a link wheel? It is basically, it's setting up a series of Web 2.0 sites together and then pointing them at your own site. And what they are is a Web 2.0 site is a site like WordPress or Hub Pages or Squidoo or Blogger or Weebly. And what they do is they give you an opportunity to have your own little space out there in the world where you can update with your thoughts and your images and videos and all that sort of stuff. And it's a low cost or a no cost effective way of going out there and having your own space without having to register a domain name and without having to pay for hosting fees. So the benefits of actually having a series of Web 2.0 profiles or properties is fairly good in the respect that it gives you an opportunity to get out there and put your message out there. But when we're talking about off-page SEO process, the way that it's actually used is you place content on there and you update your content fairly regularly. And what you do is you go and you link from your content on that particular page back to your page, and then from your Web 2.0 property to your other Web 2.0 property. And let me show you a diagram I have here that it shows exactly how this works. So we see working around the outside that these are like these spokes to your wheel, and together they form an entire wheel. And your site in the middle, that star, that's the hub of your site. And what you're essentially doing, as I mentioned beforehand, is you're placing content on each one of these different Web 2.0 properties, and then you're linking them to each other, as well as linking them back to your hub. Now, back during the Panda update in 2011, Google have noticed that people are using this particular property to link back to their sites, and they've dismissed and removed the authority of this type of link coming back to your site. As a result, there are a number of people that were using link wheels that were affected fairly heavily in rankings in the search engines, and as a result, link wheels aren't as effective as what they were pre-Panda update. And essentially, the other thing that passed on as well is that Squidoo and all of these blog properties, they actually lost a little bit of authority as well within the search engines. And as a result, they've actually become a lot more stringent and a lot more focused on ensuring that when you're setting up your web properties like this, that you're not actually using it to structure for a link wheel. Now, just to give you an example of something that I personally have done beforehand, and I've set up a link wheel as a test and measure, as you do, and if you're an SEO, just to gain an understanding of the benefit and the effect of it, the full effect of it. And I pointed it towards a couple of my own sites, and I did find initially that it was working fairly well. And I was updating my content once a fortnight on it, on each of the different pages, and the content that I had for each page was unique. So it was, making sure that I didn't have any cross references. And from there, I was linking my pages exactly as a link wheel should be linked, is set up to link from Web 2.0 property to Web 2.0 property, and then linking back to my hub. Now, after 3 months, I found that my WordPress and my Squidoo property that I'd set up, Web 2.0 property, were both shut down, and the accounts were suspended because they suspected that I was doing something dodgy, essentially. And this is why it is a bit of a grey hat technique in the respect that that a lot of people out there that are using it unscrupulously, and they're looking at using it to set up a lot of solid spam links going between each other, and then looking at artificially influencing that way. But the question has to be asked, and as I mentioned early on, is whether or not it is still an effective strategy for you to use. I don't actually use it for any of my clients, and the main reason being is I want to make sure that everything that I'm doing is going to be Google compliant, and I don't want to be impacted by the search engine somewhere down the track because I'm using a strategy or a technique that they will be able to track and measure, and then they'll be able to penalize you for. So I personally believe that you can invest your time more effectively in the other techniques that I'm discussing, but if you were to look at setting up a link wheel, this is essentially how you do it. Now, I'll just show you a couple of other examples of link wheels as well. This is another version of a link wheel where it's basically 6 wheels, and then they're all linking back to the main site, and each one of those you have 4 different Web 2.0 properties. And with those, and they're basically same structure. They're linking to each other, then they're linking back to that individual wheel, and then all of those are linking back to your money site. And this is another another example of one that I found as well, and this is from linkdiagrams.com. And this one here is the same sort of deal. You have all of your individual hubs, or all of your individual wheels, and they all have Web 2.0 properties that are linking to them, and then they're all linking back to the main site. So it is a fairly hefty process to set up, and once you do set it up, just be aware of the fact that if you do consider using it, that there is an opportunity and there is a chance, because it isn't considered to be a Google compliant method, that you can be penalized for it, and or if you are going to set it up and use it, that it won't be as effective as some of the other techniques that we're talking about in the other videos.